was majestic. That was marvelous. Good morning, everybody. You know, it's September, and I'm seeing some people who have been away and coming back after vacations or after taking kids to college, and I'm very glad to see your faces. We have our goddesses of newcomers at each corner here, and if you are here for the very first time, or if you're newish and you haven't received one of our packets for newcomers, just hold up your hand and you'll get something in it. Anybody here for the first time or newish and would like a packet? Back there, welcome, welcome. So, I would love to meet you personally after the service. This is where you are, right here at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, where our vision is awakening personal transformation, and our mission is teaching tools for positive change. So every time you come to something here, you should get both of those things. You should get inspired, and I'm already inspired for transformation. And every time you come, you should get something that you can do, and by golly, you're going to get that today. The theme for our whole year, this global vision, is a world that works for everyone. So in a spiritual community, this is actually a very, very practical theme, because changes in the world have to happen for this world to work for everyone. And of course, we know that the changes first start in our own awareness. But if our own awareness is then supplemented by our action, then we move towards this vision. So we're here in September now, and we have a new theme for September. And the theme for September is service to the world. This up here is the September theme, service to the world. And World Day of Service, I think, is next Saturday, but there was another one in June, and so I'm confused, and so I think we can make every day a service day. And then this here is the quote from Ernest Holmes. Being in service to others is an expression of love. And I love the way Gary chose that song. What is the refrain? At the calling of this love, we come. Well, there it is. There's the action right there. So I want to, with this in mind, with this theme of being in service to others is an expression of love, I want to turn your attention to the altar. Now, Mary Lee Bickford had a death in her family, unfortunately, and she was unable to make this altar, so I made the altar. I don't love the reason that I got to do this altar, but I do love to do the altar every once in a while. So there is an ancient Greek expression, xenia, I think is the way it's pronounced, Xenia, and it is the practice of welcoming everyone with serving them, welcoming everyone that you know and that you don't know in service. And so here, one of the ways that was accomplished in ancient Greece was foot washing. And so we have the goddess herself, Aphrodite, ready to wash the feet of any traveler that comes to her tent. And that is absolute service to the world. There's also on this altar a rubber tree. And because I think that trees are so generous, they always give. They give oxygen, they help each other, they are so benevolent to every one of us on this planet. So the story of this particular tree is that when I was growing up in Tucson, my mom had a rubber tree in a planter in our home that was so happy that it would just send out shoots all the time, so she had to keep hacking at it so it wouldn't strangle her in her sleep. And so she would make cuttings all the time and give them to people. She would hack it off, give them to people, hack it off and give them to people. And then when she moved to California, she took some of these cuttings with her, and that is a whole other story about getting across the border with a plant. But anyway, it's the same plant from over 50 years ago that ended up in her house here. She kept hacking at it. Now it's in my house, and it keeps growing so that I have to hack at it. And and I give them to people as my mom did. And so this is ready for a new home today. It's nicely rooted. In fact, it probably is a little root bound. It could use a new pot. And so I would love to give it to someone who would like a gift from my mom from 50 years ago. So if you would see me after service, the first one can have it, and then the next ones can be on the list when I keep hacking at it, because it's time to cut back the rubber tree, the 2 rubber trees that I have at home. So that's the service that is represented by the altar. But, you know, even if we don't go into all of that with Aphrodite and ancient Greece, we live in a world where serving others and receiving from others is absolutely natural, and we do it all the time. We have to do it all the time, or we would not be living. And I want you to just think of breakfast today. Think of breakfast today, and how many hands helped you get your breakfast? How many hands fed the chickens that laid the eggs? How many hands planted the wheat that made the bread, that made the toast? How many people, you know, made the dishware on which you ate your breakfast, and the paper towels that you mopped up afterwards? And, you know, all of that is service to you. And all of that happened at breakfast time. And then that's not even counting getting here. So we do activity in the world, and hopefully the activity that we do is more helpful than harmful to others. That's one way to think about if you're on the right track, if you're in a work that is helpful. May it be so. If all of us could think about what we do for others and make it a spiritual practice, whatever we do in the world affects other people. And if we could just say, this is my spiritual practice today, and maybe thinking about it in your meditation. Are to love God and our brothers and sisters. Love is a complete unity with life, and we cannot enter this state unless we are in unity with all that lives, for all life is one. So as we serve the whole, the completeness. So my title today is, This Evening, Will the World Be Better Because of You? Now, the talk is not about this evening. The talk is about using this spiritual practice of serving others now, not waiting, doing it absolutely now. And that might mean a shift for some of us, because I know that when I got into this philosophy, and when many of us got into this philosophy, and when today because we still have healthy snacks, and it was kind of inspired by Steve Einhaus serving us. Next, supply. Let's say that we are this one, that we are the one who is giving forth of either supply or a consciousness of sufficient supply. That is what your prosperity team does for all of you. Your prosperity team is made up of people that have a pretty good relationship with their supply. And they are in service because they want the same for you. They want each one of you to be absolutely comfortable with your supply, and their service in this community is to forward that. So relationships. So let's say we're this big brother here, and you know, I've actually been introduced to a few couples in my life where the husband says, "Oh, it's my purpose in life to make her happy." Now, I imagine he does other things. But to have that be like in the forefront of someone's mind, that I am here to make a difference in my partner's life and have it always be beneficial. That is giving of service. So the first thing that has to happen for a shift of me first to others first is that shift inside. And can we imagine that a movement in consciousness for a lot of us to do that would make the world better? Can we that there would be an abundance of goodies that are given? There's an oversufficient supply of everything in health and supply and relationships and expression. So when we think about moving from self-centered to other-centered, I love to go to the extreme because it just opens up everything in my mind. So I went to the election and I thought, what would happen if both parties said, we are here to have the other party have a really self-fulfilling election season? That each one really feels that they have done their best job, because ultimately we both want what is best for America and for the people in it. And so in our debates and in our ads, we're going to be truthful and empowering for the other side. Now, you are looking at me like I am stark raving mad. But that's what I do. I mean, I go to the extreme. So let me tell you something that I did. I mean, this is not about the election. You can take a breath now. But when I was going through the divorce with Michael's dad, we both had lawyers. And neither one of us, it wasn't like really, we didn't really know about mediation then. So both of us did not want a big fight. Both of us did not want the lawyers to aggravate each other or us. So I wrote a treatment for my soon-to-be ex-husband's lawyer. I wrote a treatment for this man to experience the highest that he desired for himself when he chose the law profession as he was serving my soon-to-be ex-husband. And I really worked on this treatment so that I really wanted a good experience for this lawyer in the highest sense, not in competitive, down and dirty, but that he was serving someone who couldn't serve themselves as well as he could. And actually, I think it worked. I think we got through it with much less pain, and we're friends now. And so, although that's not as extreme as the election, it's not what most people do, and it's a shift of consciousness towards the other person. So now we have this really, really cool image, and I want to explain this to you, and then I'll talk about it. This is the winning Olympic vaults, 56 years apart. This, and it repeats and repeats. This won a gold medal 56 years ago, here. This won a gold medal this year. Now, these people had no idea that the human body could do this. They had no idea. And over the years, please don't become hypnotized by that, because I'm going to be continuing to speak. But I want to talk about morphogenesis. Morphogenesis is the theory that as more people learn to do something, it becomes easier and more natural for others to do. You've heard it as the morphic fields. Rupert Sheldrake is the one that initiated this theory, that as more and more people do something, it becomes natural to do it. In the book that we're studying this year, the Peacemaker, there's a piece in here that I want to say, or read to you. According to Sheldrake, the more an event is duplicated, the more powerful its morphogenic field becomes. Thus, people in the 20th century learned to operate machinery and to ride bicycles much more quickly than people did in previous century. Similarly, children tend to learn to operate computers faster than their parents. So we know this. We know this. So the more we do something, the more other people are going to do it. The more of us that shift from me first to you first, the more it's going to be natural for other people to do that, okay? So are you with me here? Or are you still looking at those flippers? Yes, okay. So we're going to shift now. We're going to shift to the thinking person. We're going to shift to the thinking person. Okay? Because we are going to change our mind, like this guy is. So there's a map that we use for spiritual growth in this denomination. It's called the Kingdoms of Consciousness. And if you take pretty much any class, you're going to have some reference to the Kingdoms of Consciousness. It is a sort of a predictor of where we all are going if we keep on the path. You can't avoid going to oneness if you keep on the path. So we're going to take the Kingdoms of Consciousness and relate it to the issue that we're talking about right now, which is serving others. So first of all, we begin down here in the right in Kingdom 1, which is a victim. And the victim says, I have no idea about my life. I mean, the best I can hope for is good luck. I am just here and life is happening to me. But then we get an inkling that, you come here and you hear that your thought is creative, and if you clarify your thinking and contemplate oneness, your life will get better, right? That's a tool for positive change, by the way. So if you're in Kingdom 1 and you go, wow, I can envision what I want my life to be, and if I hold that in front of my vision and know that God is one with me, that'll change my life? Yep. Then you are moving to Kingdom 2. Kingdom 2 is the kingdom of mastery. So here, everybody says, oh, I do know something about my life. And maybe my life is about me and manifesting my desires. Powerful movement in consciousness from victimhood, yes? Every time you take a class, you get lessons here in this kingdom of mastery. And it's a complex kingdom. You work with visioning, you work with affirmations, you work with spiritual mind treatment, you work with your practitioner, you work with hearing stories and how other people did it, and you get the idea that, yes, there are things that I can do, and my life is better because of me. Then you come to a place where you think, like this guy, I bet there's more. And so there's a little passage that you do to Kingdom 3. Kingdom 3 is about flow. It's where you don't really have to set goals for yourself anymore because you kind of are in the flow of God, and you only have to think, oh, this would be nice, and then that starts happening in your life, and plus you get the feeling that maybe this isn't about me, maybe it's about others. This is the first of the unitive kingdoms where we start experiencing ourselves in that connectivity, in that net of God, where everything that we do affects other people. And so we might as well give absolute best to everybody, because as we give the absolute best to everybody, we know that that's going to come back to us and we don't have to work at it. And then there is even one more kingdom which we move to if we keep practicing, and that is Kingdom 4, which is oneness. And here we get to say, wow, maybe it is about the divine me as I connect with the divine in others. And you live in that place of namaste, where when I am in my holy place and you are in your holy place, we are one. And so we prove the song and the quote from Ernest Holmes. Love is a complete unity with life, and we cannot enter this state unless we are in unity with all that lives. We become the hands of God on earth. And I want to bring up somebody who I believe is the hands of God. And she's going to share something with you that you can do too. So I'm going to call up Rachel DePaula. Please welcome Rachel.
Chat amongst you.
Okay, yes, chat amongst you. No, don't chat. We'll not get them back if they start chatting.
No chatting.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Hi, good morning. So last week, Reverend Karyl talked about the mind of a generous person. And when I heard that topic, I thought, awesome, I'm a generous person. I really was excited about the talk. And I identified so much with what she said, and I was reminded that when we give of ourselves, it not only helps other people in some way, but it really feels good. And after service, I was inspired to do something I had planned for over a year, but I had never seen it through. It was something I actually saw this idea on Facebook a while ago, and I was like, oh, that's cool, I should do that. And after the talk, it just really inspired me to just go ahead and do it. So I created small bags of supplies for homeless people. And when I am stopped at a street light and someone asks for money, I will hand them one of these, which also has a little cash in it. So here is one of them. After church, I went to the dollar store, and I created 4 bags like this for $30. Really, really inexpensive. I mean, then I added the cash, but just the supplies. It was, you know, you can buy things in multiple. And in here are some of the things are a toothbrush and toothpaste, a comb, some dry shampoo, socks, a razor, a couple of non-perishable snacks, a pair of readers, tissue, lip balm, and deodorant, a couple other things. And literally, I didn't have a list. I just went to the dollar store and went, that looks like something someone could use that maybe doesn't have a home. And next time I go shopping, it might be different things. And you can put in maybe just change from a bowl on your nightstand, or $1 or $5 or $20. And how often we get stopped at a light and I'm scrambling for money in my wallet, and I'm just going to keep these behind my driver's seat and just, here you go. So anyway, my hope is that it lets someone know that I see them and that I respect them and that I bless them. Thanks.
Ah, great. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. So if we are going to create or co-create a world that works for all, do you think that it would come quicker if we started making this shift of thinking of others first even? you know. What I really know is that if this is a new notion for you, as it is for me, I mean, I think of my kids first, but, that's not the world. But I know how to do that. I know how to think about somebody else first, and it comes naturally with my kids. So you start wherever you are. If you think this is a good idea, and many, 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 many of us are moving from Kingdom 2 to Kingdom 3. As a culture, we are moving from Kingdom 2 to Kingdom 3. If you think this is a good idea, but it doesn't come natural to you, that's where work in consciousness begins. And you pray that use me prayer of, dear God, dear presence within me, dear beloved of my soul, put me in circumstances today where I can be useful. And then pay attention to where you are taken. And don't you imagine that Rachel feels really good? Not an ego good, but a really like, the world's working better because this person has my bag. It's his bag now. So when we first of all have to have that consciousness that this is a good idea and I would like to go there. And then you simply start praying for it. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in a place where you are thinking about others. So I have a story about that a long time ago, when John Denver was still alive, I was at the Mile High Church in Denver. And John Denver was there too. And he kind of got to be friends with the minister there. I don't know how, but this was early in their friendship. I think the minister there did his last wedding. So John Denver was in the office of the senior minister at the Mile High Church. And there was a mission statement on the wall that was much like the mission statement of many churches, where it said, we believe in the oneness of all of life, and we believe that God indwells everyone. We believe that our thought is creative, and we believe that we are here to make a better world. Okay, he took that off the wall. And when he was introduced to the hundreds and hundreds of people at that church, and I remember it very well, he read them the mission statement that I know that most of them read and said to themselves, oh, thought is creative. I can make my life better. That's what that mission meant to them. Just like when we come here first, we think that the whole philosophy is about making my life better. John Denver read that. They were going, yeah, it'll make my life better. John Denver said, this is what will make the world better, because we are here to use our mind in service of others. He was there. He was there. And that's where we are all going, because that's the movement of consciousness from Kingdom 1 all the way to Kingdom 4. And if you keep coming, and most of you are regular, you do keep coming, that is where you're going. So you might as well give yourself a little nudge. And pray the use me prayer a few times a week. So, that is the end. The spiritual principles that we have talked about today, that you remember, are these. We are the loving and giving hands of God on earth. And the next one is, spiritual growth includes serving God's creation. And the spiritual practice that you need to do before tonight is this: make the world better by serving others in love. So join me now for the inner work. Oh, and so may it be. May it be, as I bring this whole talk back to the ancient world who had it right. I welcome and serve everyone who comes to me. I welcome and serve everyone who comes to me. May I be divinely guided as to how that welcoming may be. Not that I push my philosophy on someone, not that I encourage them in any way to be like me, but I see into them and see what they might need in the moment and provide that thing, that idea, or that way of silently holding them, knowing that everything they need is available to them. And by my presence, by the way I am in the world, they come into resonance with that idea and open to receptivity. Thereby, all of us move from being strangers to being welcome friends, all one unto another. And so it is. Amen.